back to when you spoke of the Ari and the Tree of Life and Malhut Divine Sof, and when the coupling happens, and you spoke of the knowing being a deep knowing, when it's a biblical knowing, that it's a deep, intimate knowing, and the coupling can happen between opposites that seem to be opposite, but then this coupling happens and a third reality, a third something is born. And you spoke of that knowing, that it is our responsibility to serve that knowing. But before that knowing and that coupling could happen, that the receiver, the reception, needed to reform into reception for the purpose of bestowing. And so my question became the Malhut, the formation of Malhut, does that happen before the coupling or after? Because I'm thinking that the coupling cannot happen until Tikkun, the reformation, happens.
The coupling is happening all the time. Otherwise, we would not be able to survive or even to exist. We need to couple with the light, even to the minimum extent, which is called in a Zohar, Kista de Chayuta, the little pocket of life. This is how it's called. It's existing in this world, in the corporal world. You have to have, or you have to be given some amount that will, even if it's in a form of a battery, because it's in the form of a battery. It has an expiring date on it. Okay, so but it means that it coupled with the light, but it is to allow it to develop, not to evolve, to develop on that line, to the extent that it will reach a point when it will realize in itself that the way or the form that this little light is operating in oneself is not even one iota of the possibility. And that, let's say, that vessel of existence is not a vessel of evolution, and it's not a vessel of willing coupling. It's forced upon us. So now, if you ask from there, I'm answering you from here, okay, from us. What happened actually with Malchut is, in a way, she was in a state before creation, if we can speak about before creation, but we don't have a different discernment. Okay, so I'm saying before creation sort of banged itself out. Okay. Malchut was receiving, but there was no difference, or the difference of her receiving was not active in consciousness. She was so sort of in communion and enveloped by Keter, or by what we are calling Keter, or Ein Sof, Ein Sof Baruch Hu. But the point starts with Hu. In Hebrew, Baruch Hu, it's like him. It means it's concealed. We say in Hebrew, Hu, for something which is not present. Or an act which is not present. He said, it means he's not here, so I'm quoting. I'm quoting when I was in his presence, and I'm delivering what he said as with the intention to deliver the presence. This difference was not felt, was not recognized, was not conscious in the state of four aspect of direct light. And then when there was a will that we will read today, that something will happen and Malchut actually will be able to define her own will, it means she did not have a will before, an independent, discernible will. Okay? So in that respect, this is why I'm going back to the portion of the way, is to liberate. Actually, the act of creation is liberating the self of the createe from the coercion of the enormous, pleasurable, beautiful light of the creator. Because under that, there's no will, there's no self. Okay. Yes. So, so this is why Tao, no, in the biblical sense, as I said, is opening, because it cannot be coercion or rape of the light. It should be a choice. So the fight for the sovereignty of the female over her will and body is very much to do with the last generation remembering in a very awkward and twisted way the first act of creation. Okay? So now it needs to be, it's part of religion. It needs to be sort of set in the place and context. Otherwise it will be lost in itself. Okay, so and it has to do with the body, which is to do with the will to receive in ladies and in men. Yeah? It's not it's not gender discernment. It's inside each Adam, each person, there is those two.